Coach, I guess we'll start with you. Just talk about what Sunday was like and when you actually saw your name pop up there or got the call. What was that like for you?
Well, unfortunately, it started the Saturday before when we lost that conference championship match. And I spent, probably to my wife's dismay, too much time over Thanksgiving break watching stats of other matches and trying to get an idea of where we might fall, and hoping to get to a point where sitting down watching the show was definitely worthwhile. So I was happy that we got to that point. And then everyone that texted me afterwards, I told them all the same thing. It was probably one of the most stressful moments of my life, sitting there just waiting and knowing there was a couple names that I didn't want to hear, and hearing two of those names, not that they weren't deserving teams, but it meant some of the bubble spots were taken. So it was just extremely stressful. And then I had a little panic in my mind of what am I going to tell the team after we don't get selected as it got down to that last grouping. And I just was thankful that, because I didn't have anything. So I was just thankful that it popped up, that our name popped up, so that we could just celebrate and relieve all that stress.
I think it's second at-large bid, I think, the NCAA tournament. Just what does that say about the kind of season that you guys have had?
I mean, these girls have put in so much time and so much effort and energy the whole way through the season, and have played so great, and going on the road to Washington State and beating Baylor, who was a top 12 team in the country, and getting a seed, and to get rewarded after having one bad weekend or a bad match at the end of the year where JMU played great and we just couldn't get anything going. It's great that the girls get rewarded for the entire season, not just get penalized for a bad match at the end of the year.
At what point did you think you had a shot? I mean, you talked about during Thanksgiving that you were looking at teams and seeing the other terms and what was going on. When did you think that hey, we might have a shot here?
When we were sitting at 50 RPI before the matches that went on this week, and there was a lot of teams that were ahead of us just by one or two spots that all played tough matches. Iowa had to play Nebraska, Maryland had to play Ohio State, Auburn was playing Arkansas, LSU had two tough matches, and so all the teams that were right above us all had to play tough matches, which made me think that if a couple things went our way, we would at least be in the conversation. And in the end, that's what you're hoping for, is to be in that conversation. And a lot of stuff went our way to be in that conversation. And so I always thought we had a shot when those things started to fall. And then sitting down and just kind of waiting, I knew we were the unofficial RPI had us at 46. And if you went straight RPI, 47 was the cutoff. So looking at that, I knew if they just took every single team RPI the whole way down, 47 was the last team. North Texas was 47. They took NC State over North Texas. That was kind of the only non-RPI thing they took.
What does it say about the league that it could be a two-bid league?
It's a great league. I think it doesn't get, I think this year we were 9th. Best conference in the country. The year before, we were 8th. So we play in a top 10 conference. There's 2 or 3 teams every year that I think have a shot at getting at large bids. And I think until you get the first one in a conference, you never know. I don't know if all the coaches believe that you can get in that large bid from a non-Power 5 conference until you get that first one. I think now that we've got that first one, I think everyone's going to have a little bit different mindset and hope that, hey, we can look at the scheduling, we can look at who we play, and really try to put ourselves in a position year in and year out, which I think will only help the conference.
Take a look at the bracket. What do you kind of see out of Miami? Obviously, 4 seasons or so.
Miami's good. They to got a great coach, and they got the ACC Player of the Year, lefty outside hitter, and so they're going to be a very tough team to play against. We've watched as many games as we can in this short period of time, and I think we're going to have to play really well. We're going to have to play very disciplined, and we've got to pass well. They serve really tough, try to get you out of system. They got a big 6'7" right side, so if you're out of system, you're just throwing high balls to the outside, you've got a lot of trouble to deal with her out there. And then on our defensively, I think we just have to be strong as blockers and really trying to make them uncomfortable. But they're going to be really difficult, and I think it's going to be a great match.
Chrissy, how do you not be just satisfied in making it? How do you get the win?
Right. Well, I think we all have, a bad taste in our mouth from losing the conference championship game. So we kind of see this as redemption for ourselves, for our season, because I think we did work hard enough all season to earn this spot. Miami is going to be a great competition for us. We've been preparing all week in practice. So I think, I'm not ready for my season to be over yet. I'm a senior. I want to go as far as we can. I think this is going to be a great opportunity. And, it's not just good enough to get into the tournament. We want to accomplish something while we're there and go as far as we can.
A win over Baylor, how does that help you?
Well, that was obviously huge for why we even got that large bid in the first place. That kept us up there in RPI with them being so high up, highly ranked. And honestly, it just gives our team confidence in ourselves that we can be big competition. We were able to beat, a number 12 ranked team, so why not be able to beat a Miami or someone similar to them yet again?
You mentioned the conference tournament. What are you guys working on to kind of fix what you guys weren't able to do there?
Yeah, so I think the last 3 matches of our season weren't exactly our style of play. So we've really just been working on, getting back to College of Charleston volleyball, and we see our new competition, and that's what we're focused on, is how we can combat them and be better than who's across the net.
He talked about it being a very stressful Thanksgiving. What was it like for you and the other girls on the team?
Oh yeah, so when we all got back, we talked about the food and all that stuff, but we also talked about how our family members, they were all wanting to know, at-large bid, what's the plans for the rest of the season, how'd it go? So we didn't know either. I mean, we were just as clueless as Jason and everyone else, because you don't know till the day of. But we were all just so excited to get back. Usually Thanksgiving break seems longer, but it couldn't have gone by any longer this year, because I was excited to get back and sit down on Sunday with the team and all watch together.
When you walked off the court, William and Mary, was it James?
James
Madison.
Madison.
What did you think? That's it. I'm never going to play for the College of Charleston again. What did you honestly think?
Well, I was obviously disappointed. I mean, winning the conference championship game and not regular season was a goal of mine, obviously, but I knew that it wouldn't be my last game with College of Charleston, because I knew even if we didn't get the at-large bid to the NCAA tournament, there was like a college volleyball NIT, so I knew we were going to be playing for that, and so I was excited either way to continue my career here and put in as much as we could.
Coach, just how does this team or this experience compare to when you take a team to the tournament in the past? I know it's a little different this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this team's been very comparable to some of the teams we've had in the past, that they've played at a high level for a long period of time. This year's selection was so much different, because all the other years you win the regular season and you're just kind of sitting there and your name is going to show up, and when it does, you're excited, but it's going to be there, so you don't really have that anticipation. This year, this team is a lot tighter than a lot of teams in the past. I think all 14 of them are close, and to see their emotion and their excitement in that moment, and my stress relief was something that I haven't experienced before, and I think really sets this team apart for me, just because of that moment that we got to share. That's unlike anything I've shared with anyone else.
The best team you've ever had?
I think in some ways, I think it's one of the most balanced teams I've ever had. I think we've had teams that would be very comparable. The first year I got here, they were very good. The years with Darcy here, but we weren't as balanced, Darcy and Sloan. Here we don't really have one dominant person that we set a ton to. We're very balanced. And I think that's the biggest difference between this team and teams in the past, is we're much more balanced than we have been in past years. And when someone on this team has one bad match, usually we can make some adjustments and still be successful. So I think that's one difference that this team has over the past teams. But I've been fortunate to have some really good teams in past years also.
Well, a lot of times for mid-majors, it's about getting over that intimidation factor. Baylor, I asked her about that. Does a win like that, and playing Power 5 teams, does that help you going into a tournament like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we try to play as many Power 5 teams and good teams as we possibly can throughout the year, so that when we get to this moment, we're used to that style of play, that level of play, the tempo, the speed. I think that the best thing that happened with us with the Baylor match was we beat Baylor right after they beat Washington State, and then Washington State beat us down pretty bad up there. So I think we were down a little bit. We just watched Baylor beat the team that beat us, and then we responded very well. And we went 5, but we played 5 very good games. The 2 games we lost were close. And I think that gave the team confidence. And then watching that team that we beat throughout the year beat BYU, who was undefeated and ranked 8th in the country at that time, and then watching them beat Kansas at Kansas, who was a top 8 team the year before, and watching the success that Baylor had throughout the year, to me, is what built confidence for me in this group, and I think also for this group, watching them and saying, hey, we beat this team, and it wasn't injuries, it wasn't anything. They beat Washington State the day before, and the next weekend they beat BYU. So we were able to play at that level for 5 games, and to me, that's what gives me the most confidence in this group, is their ability to play a high level for a consistent period of time, where in past years, that's where we've struggled. We can play one good game, and then we can't play the next game. We let it slide a little bit, and it's a little more up and down. So I think this team has the ability to play at a high level for entire matches.